might wonder to yourself, what is it that OpenMRS Inc. does? Do they have a core team? Do they have a global office? Are there like 1,000 people in some office in Silicon Valley working on OpenMRS? Well, the answer is no. We do not have a office somewhere. In fact, we're a really small team, but we want to show you today how we strive to support you, the source of our community. So as Steve so beautifully emphasized, our mission for OpenMRS Inc., which is a charity that exists to support you, the OpenMRS community, our legal mission, as written in our documents, is to improve healthcare through a global community as we work together on this open source medical record platform. But what exactly is happening lately and how are we doing this? I'm going to open the curtain and show you behind the scenes of what we do. So let me first tell you a story. Some of you have seen this slide, some of you have not. What happened in 2020? COVID. When COVID hit, all of us in the community were scrambling to make sure that our medical record system was ready for what our clinician users needed. But we were in a situation where all over the world, different OpenMRS systems, they might have been sharing the same brain, the same backend, the same platform, but the face, the user interface, and the technology behind that face was different all over the world. And as a result, when one team was trying to make a COVID widget, no one else could benefit from it. In fact, as a community, we were duplicating our work at a global scale. And so we said to ourselves, this isn't right. And several implementing organizations, including all the ones you saw in the panel this morning, said to each other, let's change this situation. And so this is what has happened. You might be familiar with how OpenMRS version 1 looked on the far left here. Then in 2011, we moved to OpenMRS version 2. And now, here we are in version 3 land. So when you hear us talk about O3 or OpenMRS 3.x, this is what we are talking about. So here's version 2, which you might be familiar with. It's often called the ref app or reference application. But today I'm going to share with you OpenMRS version 3. This is what it's looking like now, with a modern interface, tablet-friendly, and also friendly for developers who are fresh out of school and have only learned the most modern code systems, not the old ones. Now, one key thing that we have heard over and over from all of our leaders yesterday who spoke on this amazing panel we had is that governments and implementers want a system that is not only specific to one condition. No problem. The good news is that the OpenMRS brain, the backend, was always designed to handle that. And now on the front end, it's easy. You have the long-term patient chart. Things about this page, incredible about OpenMRS version 3, is that all of this has been done by our global community. All of the little apps and widgets and user interface pieces that you see have been developed by coordinating efforts between our implementer organizations, including the people you just saw sitting up here. They have been instrumental in saying to each other, along with other organizations that you didn't see there, you know what? We both want appointments. How about we bring our teams together and we work on appointments? We both want better patient searching. Let's go together and build that. So how exactly are we trying to support you, the implementers, to achieve more together? That's what I want to talk to you about now. So here is behind the curtain. Here is our global support team. This is all of us. You might think, what about a core team? Well, there's a reason we don't call ourselves the core team, because we're not here to do everything. Instead, we're here to support you and what you need so that you can contribute. So for example, we have some engineering expertise to provide mentorship, make sure that there's test coverage, help streamline releases. We basically operate in the twilight zone where we try to help cover things that no one wants to do or no one can do. A common example would be organizing penetration testing, security testing, things like this. And then we, of course, have our amazing community coordinator, Beryl, and others as well. What you can see in this diagram that's really important is that there are a few faces that have logos that are not the OpenMRS logo. Specifically, we're really thankful to University of Washington Digi program for how they've seconded Ian Bacher, as well as MECOM Solutions for how they've seconded Vineet Sharma. These two key team members have been amazing in how they contribute to our global support team. And so the key point is you don't need to be hired by OpenMRS Inc. to be part of how we support the community. So one of the amazing things that we've been trying to change over the last few years is making sure that we have strong time zone coverage and that we come from all areas of the world so that we can basically be online for you 24/7. But here's the thing. We're not here to do everything. We need you and you and you. You are the source. Next, please. And the key way that we're making this happen these days in our community is through what we call our squad model. These are like little product teams where they say to each other, we want to work on this problem, this thing we're seeing that we don't like. For example, 3 years ago, we set up a QA squad because there were several organizations saying, this is a problem with the way that we don't have so much automated test coverage. Let's change that. Another great example is the billing and stock management work you saw happening at the hackathon 2 days ago. All of that was kicked off by squads. I'm going to tell you more about that here. Our job is to sit in the middle of that and support the squads with what they need. For example, in the month of May, one of our support team members reviewed over 100 PRs. And in fact, we're finding that we're reviewing hundreds of PRs a month to help support teams get their code into the global reference application of O3. Every week on Thursdays, we have representatives from all of these different squads coming to a weekly call where they'll share, here's what our squad has worked on. They might demo a new feature to show, hey, look how the appointments version 2 is looking, and so on. Each squad goes through its own process from sharing, hey, does anyone want to work on this problem with us? To, okay, let's start designing that together. To, okay, we're sharing development effort, we're all working on it together. To, hey, we better test this before it goes out in the community release. And then finally releasing that, and then sharing, here's how this is going in our pilot. A really nice example of this is the work that Partners in Health led in one squad on the dispensing app, where they went through this process, and now we've been hearing how version 1 has been used in real world in production. This has been fantastic. When we do releases of OpenMRS version 3, we try to do them every 1 to 2 months because there are so many amazing pieces of work coming in through our community work. This is an example. Last week we did a release, and all of these organizations directly contributed code, including some volunteers, members from our Google Summer of Code or GSOC program, as well as all these organizations. On any given release, we'll have orgs like these and more contributing to our releases. So we are extremely thankful to all of you. But again, let me emphasize that the majority of code is not coming from our little team. It's coming from you. Now, sometimes I get asked, well, Grace, you're director of product of OpenMRS. What is on our roadmap? Well, what's on our roadmap is what you want to be on our roadmap. At this link, you'll be able to see our live roadmap. And in this example screenshot, you can see some features that are happening right now. For example, working on the health information system distribution, which is an out-of-the-box version of OpenMRS that connects with other applications, like a lab system, an ERP system. That work, which actually there's a lightning talk on that at the end of today at 3 o'clock, that work is being done in coordination between these two organizations, UCSF and MECOM. And in fact, recently you can see that we added technical support for content packages, which is where you can plug in new content. Like let's say you've never had MCH content in your OpenMRS implementation before. We're trying to make it really easy for you to take work someone else has done in MCH and plug it in and then configure it so that you don't have to start from scratch. This means that even if your system has been HIV specific in the past, it does not have to stay that way. The content possibilities are truly endless. And thanks so much to UCSF Digi for leading that work. Now, one other thing we get asked by implementers is, Grace, we need support. Please, can we have support? Can we have a call with you? To which I say, absolutely you can, but did you also know that we already have all of these forums for you? At any time, day or night, you can message on Slack. We have a specific channel called Help Me. Every day, we actually have what we call our coffee break call, which is specifically for developers who are struggling with anything related to OpenMRS version 3. It's half an hour a day where we send some of our amazing representatives, like you see there in this slide, to help unblock you and talk you through the challenges that you're facing every day. And as I mentioned, every week we get together with all these amazing representatives from around the world who share what is going on with their O3 work. And sometimes a team will come and say, you know, everyone, we actually are finding it's really difficult to work with such and such API. And that's great, we discuss it on that call. And amazingly, every week we're now seeing about 40 people from around the world representing different organizations and different squads. Now, if you're sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, Grace, that was a lot of information. I don't know if I can remember all of those calls. No problem, neither can we. So we have a short link for you called om.rs/cal for calendar. And on this page, you will see all of the live events that we have on any given day of the week. For example, you can see all of these calls. There's a lot of community calls happening every week. Now, another thing you can do that our global support team, in coordination with some amazing volunteers that we set up just in the last few months, is called the OpenMRS Academy. This has been long requested that we would have something like a Coursera or an edX or some online kind of programming. And so we actually have for you our first 4 courses. If you're new to the OpenMRS community, or you're new recently, you've been involved 10 years ago, but now you're not sure how it works, we have an OpenMRS Fundamentals course for you. If you're new to OpenMRS version 3, and you're like, okay, my team wants to get started with version 3, they need some help technically, we have taken our knowledge from all of the teams we've supported in the last 3 years with moving to OpenMRS 3, and we've turned it into this short course specifically for your implementation BAs and developers. Soon to come here, which you'll hear about later this week, is a guide for people like me. I used to be a nurse, now I've been in product management for a while, and I don't like coding in JSON, but I do enjoy using our form builder, but we're going to be adding a course for people like me who want to know, how do I build forms in new OpenMRS 3? Who here has done one of those courses? Awesome, awesome. Once you complete your course, we're happy to give you a certificate as well for having completed that. So on a final note, I'd like to ask all the members of the global support team to stand so that so people can see who you are, since I think, yeah, everyone on this picture is here in person. So please come and meet them. We're friendly. We are literally here to hear about what your needs are and how we can help you to contribute in our community project. Asante sana, thank you so much.